Chapter 4. I arrived at Department 12 exactly at 8 a.m. to meet my new client and go over court procedures before arraignment at 8:30. Buzzing the security door by the west elevators, I made a cross-eyed face into the camera. The door clicked, unlocking. A long hallway ran right and left, housing the 4 judges' chambers of the first-floor courts and several offices for court staff. 3 doors to the left was Judge Couillard's chamber. He was in his chair reading a file, waiting for attorneys to arrive to pre-try the day's cases. "Good morning, Judge. I'm coming in on Navarro, a 187. May I pick up the complaint and discovery? I'd like to talk to my client before the case is called." "Good morning, Jack. Sure. Ask Margie for the defense packet. She's in her office. I'll be out shortly." "Thank you, sir." "Strange one," she said, handing me the packet. I didn't have time to talk, so I thanked her and entered the empty courtroom through the hallway door. "I'm coming in on Navarro," I told Walt the bailiff as I walked in. "Okay if I talk to him in the jury room?" "Sure," replied Walt. He unlocked the jury room door and pulled the closest chair out from the table. "You are going to sit here. I'm going to get him and put him in that chair. Over there." Walt pointed to the seat on the opposite side of the table, furthest from the door. "That's how it's going to be." I was surprised. No bailiff had given me those instructions before. I passed it off that sometimes bailiffs were militaristic, as practice or out of boredom. "Whatever you want, Walt. I'm doing this for you," he said, walking out. Whatever, I thought. No client has ever tried to hurt me. I'm their new best friend. On top of the discovery packet was the charging document, called a complaint. It stated 1 count of Penal Code Section 187, murder as first degree. Behind it was 1.5 inches of police and medical reports. I thumbed through them. Near the end was a second case, violation of probation, VOP, for a misdemeanor domestic violence conviction 7 months earlier. The violation was based on the new case, so it would trail. A term of every probation is obey all laws. If a new case is filed against someone on probation, that term is presumptively at issue. If Caesar pled in the new case, I'd work the VOP into the package. If the new case was dismissed or we won at trial, it would be dismissed. A paragraph in the VOP reports caught my eye. Running down the street dressed only in his underwear, yelling at her. Victim claims he became violent and struck her when she refused to have anal sex. Just then the door opened. Walt walked in behind a thin Mexican man with short black hair, dressed in black and white stripes, designating keep separate. His hands were shackled in front to a chain around his waist. His ankles were shackled together and to the waist chain, forcing him to skip-hop against the restraints. He jingled as he moved. "Over there," Walt commanded, prodding Caesar's back towards the furthest chair from the door. As Caesar sat, Walt said in a serious tone, "You stay here until I get you. Understand?" "See," Caesar answered. Walt looked at me intently. "I'll be right outside," he said, closing the door and rocking the handle back and forth, confirming it was unlocked. Unusual precautions, crossed my mind. "Hello, Caesar. I'm Jack Shield. I'm a private attorney. Your family has hired me to help you. You don't have to agree to have me as your lawyer. But I've been doing this for a long time. I'm a good lawyer. Do you want me to be your lawyer?" "See." "How is your English? Do you understand what I've said so far?" "It's okay, pretty good, I understand." "Are you okay with your family paying me to represent you? You are my client, not them." "C is fine. Everything you and I talk about is confidential, only between us. I won't talk about our conversations or your case to anyone else. If you want me to tell your family about something later, we can discuss that, but right now everything we say is just between us. Do you understand?" "See." "Okay. Do you know why you are here?" "They say I killed Victoria." "That's right. You are here because the district attorney claims you killed your wife. It's a serious charge." "See. We're about to go out into court and enter a not guilty plea and set a date to come back. That's all that's going to happen. I need time to work on your case. You have a right to come back in 10 days for a preliminary hearing. But I need more time than that. A prelim is like a little trial. It's where the DA has to show the judge they have some evidence for the charges against you. It only has to be some. It's not a question of whether it's good or believable. For any charges where some evidence is presented showing that you may have committed it, the judge holds you to answer to those and dismisses the rest. Then, you are rearraigned and have a right to a trial within 60 days after that. That way we don't waste time defending against charges that have no evidence. For example, if you are charged with possession of drugs, but there's no evidence of drugs, those charges get dismissed at a prelim. In your case, a prelim doesn't do us much good. There's only one charge, first-degree murder. The judge doesn't decide what level of homicide it is at a prelim, only if a death occurred and if there's evidence you were the cause. Do you understand? Not really. Okay, I will be coming by the jail to speak to you so that you understand everything. But for today, do you understand I need time to prepare so I can do my best to help you? C. All right, then I am asking you not to have a preliminary hearing in 10 days, to waive that right, so you can have it later when I'm prepared. Do you agree to that? C. Can I go home? Today. C. I want to go home. No. Your bail is $1 million. You or your family need 10% $100,000 to pay a bail bondsman to get bailed out. Do you have $100,000? No. $1 million is the normal bail for murder. From experience, I can tell you this judge won't lower it. So, you're going to stay in custody until this case is over. He looked down. I'm not sure how long this case will take, Caesar. I can't predict the future. I can only promise you I'll do my best. The way it's charged now, the only sentence is 25 years to life. That's a life sentence. You don't get credits like half-time. Some other charges get credits, but in California, a life sentence doesn't. You do all 25 years, then become eligible for supervised parole for the rest of your life. It's better we don't rush, even though you're in custody, because the consequences are severe. You need to give me time to do my job. I was slipping through the litany of information, knowing I would repeat it to him many times. I needed to say one more thing before I asked what I really wanted to know. It was vital for him to take this to heart. I want to get something clear at the beginning. I don't care what happened. I'm not judging you. I honestly don't care. My job is to help you, but I can't do my job if I don't know what happened. I need to know so I can anticipate what's coming. If you lie to me or mislead me, I will miss something the DA is doing, which means I'm not protecting you. You'll have an idiot for a lawyer. Do you want an idiot for a lawyer? No? No, you don't. That's worse than having no lawyer. I need you to promise you won't lie to me, no matter how difficult or painful the thing is to say. If you're going to lie because you're embarrassed or afraid or whatever, don't. Just tell me you aren't ready to talk about it. That way I can trust you, and you can trust me. I want to help, but I can't do that if you lie to me. Can we agree on that? I will not lie, Caesar said solemnly. Good. One more thing. You are not to speak to anyone else besides me about your case unless I introduce them to you and say it's okay. Not your family, not other people in custody or at the jail, not the guards, no one. Even if someone comes to you and says, I said it was okay, don't. By that, I mean anything. Court dates, your paperwork, witnesses, what we did in court, anything. You cannot speak about this case to anyone except me and people I introduce you to and say it is okay. Do you understand? See? Good. Also, never, ever discuss this case over the phone. Phone calls are recorded. If you need to speak to me, tell your family to let me know, or you call me collect, and I will come and see you like this, face to face. I will not answer questions about your case on the phone, and you will not ask or speak about your case ever on the phone. This is extremely important. In jail, the guards are always listening to the phones. Do you understand? C. Okay. Do you have any questions so far? You will visit me in the jail? Many times. Today we don't have much time. I wanted to make sure we met and had a chance to speak. I will visit you at the jail in a day or two after I go over the reports and find out what the DA thinks they know. Otre preguntas? No. Okay, I said, sitting back in my chair. Tell me what happened. Caesar didn't adjust his position, probably because of his restraints. Looking directly at me, in a calm voice like he was telling me what groceries he had bought at the supermarket, he told me the following. We were arguing about her family. She talks to her mother each day and says stuff. I slap her. But then we make up and have sexo. After she make me lunch, she makes soup and we have bread. We sit at the table, we both eat, and I hear her. She is talking, but she doesn't know I hear them. But I hear them. Hear what? Her thinking. You could tell what she was thinking. See. I hear her voice in her head. She doesn't know this, and she is saying she wants to have a baby with a man she work with at the packing place where she work. Let me understand, you thought she was planning to have an affair, to be with another man? No, I hear her. She going do this. You can read people's minds? See, I know them. She not speaking. She thinking this, and I hear her. She go with this man and have his baby. She want this. What am I thinking now? He paused. You want be me abogado. That was easy. Maybe creepy, I thought. I'm wasting time. Then what happened? After she washed the plates and sit on the couch and watch TV, I go for the shower, but she call me. Caesar, the TV not working, she say. The cartoon not stay still. The TV was flickering? See, it make the snow. So I get a, how you say, with the, he gestured with his hands about 10 inches apart, for the screws. A screwdriver. See. Como se dice? With straight. A flathead screwdriver? See, the large one. And I go behind the TV. I bend down to fix this. I unscrew the screw. Then I put the same back in. Then I take it out. I put back in. And out again. I thinking she knows she going to die. Because I tell her before if she go with another man, I kill her. And she know this is true. I put the screw back in and take it out. Out then in. Out then in. And I thinking she not know it going happen now. I keep doing this and she think I fixing TV. Just then, without looking away from him, I became aware that there was no color in the room. A strange feeling swept over me that there was a void behind me, nothing but space extending into nothingness. It was like I was suddenly thrust into an alternate reality from where I started the day. Now I was in a black and white Twilight Zone episode, where I was the actor and the audience in a story I had turned on with no idea of the intensity of what I was about to watch. I was inextricably inside it. I couldn't turn away. I didn't want to, but the strangeness of the moment, where a killer calmly described his decision to take someone's life and then acted on it as if it was simply a choice like getting rid of spoiled milk, was stretching my limits. I put the screw back in and go for the shower. I put it in my shoe outside the door. Then I go and turn on the hot water so the smoke will come out. I go very quiet and get the tool in my shoe and come up behind her. With shackled hands, he began demonstrating everything he was narrating. He stood up. And I raise it, like so, and down in her, in the head, on the top. It go all the way in, to my hand. She lift up. Caesar, no, she say. He raised his hand as far as the restraints would let him to demonstrate her attempt to protect her head. I do it again, he said, lunging his hand down, and she scream, and one more all the way in. She grabbed the wall with her arm and slide down. He paused, looking down like he was seeing her body collapse, then continued, pantomiming, all the way down, laying on the floor. She not move, so I lift her arm. Up, like on TV. Where if it stays, she alive. And if it fall down, she dead. He completely misunderstands rigor mortis came to the forefront of my thoughts, among other blurry ones. It fall down, she dead, so. He sat back down, looking at me. I go to the backyard. I make the hole with a shovel on the, behind the, como se llama, back the porch. I try to pull, but she heavy. I cannot do this. I cannot move her. So I go to my friend. He at his place, where he live. I tell him, I kill my wife. I need you help me move her. He say I crazy. I need run. So, I go see other friend. I say I have something heavy. I need him help me move. And he come over. Come inside. He see her. He leave so fast. So I pull her legs. Is very hard. I put her outside. And I drag her to the hole. I put the dirt back on. But her leg, her knees. They stick out. Her knees stick out. The dirt does not cover. I move the dirt and dig more to put her legs down. I put a blanket on. And rocks, so they stay down. Then the dirt back over. Over, like... He gestured with his finger and thumb, indicating a depth of about 3 inches. I am having the strangest day I've ever had, I thought. And I put the water on, so for the grass. I sat there looking at him tell his tale, bobbing my head, signalling I was listening, even though I was now invisibly dumbstruck. I continued to listen, shaking my head, yes, then looked down, maybe just for a personal break to digest what I was hearing. Thumbing through the discovery packet, I got to the autopsy report. On the line diagram of a person, where injuries are drawn in by the coroner, there were 3 small parallel lines on the top of the head of the generic female figure. Beside them were the handwritten words, 3 2-inch lacerations to the scalp, no skull penetration. It took a second. What? He said he stabbed her in the head 3 times to the hilt of a long, flat blade screwdriver. So deep it went all the way down to his fist. I reread, 3 2-inch lacerations to the scalp. No skull penetration. I flipped back to the cover page. Cause of death, asphyxiation. It took a few more seconds for my mind to reorder and get perspective. He had tried to stab her 3 times, but the screwdriver had glanced off the bone of her skull, and he had ended up hitting her with his fist in the head 3 times, knocking her out. She was only unconscious. Then it hit me like a rhino. He buried her alive. A physical wave, probably adrenaline and emotion, swept sideways through my head and moved into my chest, disappearing near my knees. Had she ever regained consciousness? Even for an instant? The volume of my own thoughts faded as Caesar's voice came back into focus. I flipped to the crime scene photographs and body exhumation photos, but immediately decided I wasn't ready to look at those. And her family, they call where is she, and I say she at work, she working, but they say, no, we call her work and she not there. Then I say she at store. She go out, she not here. They keep calling. The door to the jury room flung open. Jack, the judge is calling your case, Walt said. Okay, I answered, recomposing myself. I'll do the talking in court today, Caesar. You just stand by me. Walt gave me a hawkish look. I could tell he was looking for some clue about my status. I raised my eyebrows and gave him a half smile. I didn't know what I felt, but the situation was under control. Navarro, stand up, Walt commanded. Follow your attorney. You have a good lawyer there. With a heavy sigh, I walked into the courtroom and was surprised to see it was packed. Several DAs sat at the prosecution table. The defense table was empty, presumably for me. Every chair behind those tables, where lawyers sit to wait for their case to be called, was full. The gallery for the public was also full. I saw Chantel and Victor, and an elderly couple I guessed were Caesar's parents in the audience. I acknowledged them with a half nod. The jury box was empty. The lights were extremely bright. Suddenly, my black and white experience was thrust into technicolor. Mr. Shield, are you here on Navarro? The judge asked. I stood to the side, giving Walt room to put Caesar in the jury box, which is where all in custodies are placed during initial court appearances. Caesar, your family is here, I said quietly to my left, then breathed in and answered in a strong, confident voice. Yes, I am, Your Honor. Jack Shield appearing with Caesar Navarro, who is present, in custody. I looked around the courtroom. Every eye was on me. Mr. Navarro, have you or your family hired Mr. Shield to be your lawyer? The judge asked. Si, said Caesar. Very well. How do you want to proceed, Mr. Shield? Your Honor, I've received a copy of the complaint. We waive a reading of the complaint and advisement of all statutory and constitutional rights and asked to enter a plea of not guilty to the charge and deny any special allegations. With a general time waiver, my client wishes to waive time for his preliminary hearing and set this case for a preliminary hearing setting in 2 weeks. There is a companion violation of probation based on the new case. In that matter, we enter a denial and a general time waiver and ask that it trail the new case. I'd covered every base needed for arraignment. The judge asked Caesar if he understood he had a right to a preliminary hearing in 10 court days, and waived that right. "Si," I said to Caesar under my breath, nodding yes while the judge was speaking. "Si," Caesar answered. "And you want to waive time on your probation violation and have that trail this new case?" the judge asked. "Si." "Yes," Caesar and I spoke at the same time. "Very well. Time waivers are noted. Bail remains as set. These cases are set for Wednesday, February 12th at 1:30 in this department for preliminary hearing setting. Is there anything further, Mr. Shield?" "Not at this time, Your Honor." I nodded to the judge and turned to Caesar. "I will see you at the jail in a few days. Remember what we spoke about. Don't discuss this case with anyone. Is there anything you want me to tell your family?" "The rings," he said. "What?" "Let's go," Walt said, moving things along. "The rings. Tell Victor." "Okay." "Now, Navarro," Walt commanded. Caesar moved, nodding to his family, as almost the entire audience got up and was exiting. Some of the attorneys watched the exodus, then looked at me, realizing how many were there for my case. His family stood. They remained in their places, watching Caesar be led to the back of the courtroom, to the door leading to the holding cells. Another lawyer asked the court to call his case as I stepped out of the jury box, motioning for the family to meet me outside. I noticed a large Hispanic woman exiting the back row, glaring at me. Probably the victim's mother, I thought. We, unfortunately, reached the doors at the same time. She was still glaring, her moist red eyes strained with pressure as she boiled in a mix of emotions. "My condolences on the loss of your daughter," I said sincerely. "I know saying sorry is not enough." Her fierce expression relaxed some of the anger she projected, and I saw emotion swell in her eyes. She nodded, then turned quickly to exit. I found some space in the crowded hallway. Chantel, Victor, and the parents huddled in front of me. "Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Navarro. I'm Jack Shield. This is a serious case." They quietly said hello. Mr. Navarro extended his hand to shake. Chantel nodded toward the grieving woman walking away. "That's Carmela, Victoria's mum," said Chantel. I tried to be respectful. "She's lost." I trailed off as my thoughts drifted to what kind of day she was having. Then I focused. "He's charged with 1 count of first-degree murder. I don't know much else yet. I just got the police reports. I need to go by the DA's office to see if I have everything they have. Caesar's bail is $1 million. There's no way this judge will reduce it. He's going to stay in custody until the case is resolved. I told him I'd visit in a few days." Thank you," the parents said. "If you visit him or he calls, do not speak about the case. If he talks about it, stop him and tell him I said it is forbidden. Do you understand?" Si, yes," all the Navarros responded. "Okay, I asked him if he had any messages. He said to tell you he loved you." The parents looked at each other a little confused. I had lied, but it had been my experience it helped relatives to hear that. "And Victor, he said, the rings." "Yeah, he put their wedding rings in the dresser. He wants me to have them put together, you know." Victor gestured 2 circles interlocking with his fingers. "You're kidding." "No. He says that way they are together forever." Breathing deeply, I left that alone. "Okay, I have work to do. Our next court date is January 20th, back here at 8:30. Caesar hasn't given me permission to talk about the case. I'll ask about that when I see him at the jail. I'd like to schedule an appointment with you after that. Right now he's next door at the main jail. He'll be moved to the pretrial facility by Sequoia Field now that the arraignment is over. You can visit him there. Do you know where that is?" They said they did. I excused myself to go to the DA's to check on the discovery. They each thanked me again. Chantel touched the sleeve of my suit as she said it. Then they turned and walked slowly down the hall. Chantel turned once, glancing back. I stood and watched the whole scene of that crowded hallway, trying to burn that image of a slow-moving parade of souls into memory. I'd never foreseen the piercing reality of this day. Never saw my life was running along a road that would lead me right here, right now. Amidst precise, clear thoughts, the dull, grey buzz of shocking reality moved through me. I decided right then I was going to go get a drink after work.